welcome you to this round 4 Winfield Cup clash between Manly-Warringah and Newcastle. And this 10 sports action coverage of the State Bank big game is from Brookvale Oval. Both Manly and Newcastle are equal 4 points in the premiership table. The Knights of Newcastle have won their last 2 matches over Wests and Balmain, and incredibly both by the same score, 20-16. The Manly Sea Eagles have also won their last 2. First up was a 44-18 win over North Sydney, and then, well, who'll ever forget last Sunday's devastation of Parramatta by 64 points to 12. Manly and Newcastle have met in pre-season Challenge Cup matches at Newcastle, and the home team won on that occasion by 24 points to 12, and also in the Sevens tournament, 24-16. But after that awesome win last week, well, the Manly side will be starting to feel like the real premiers again. Let's check today's team.
Just before we do, let's check with the Manly skipper, Paul Vorton, if that's exactly how he felt last week. Paul, was that the warning for the rest of the sides?
I reckon so. I don't think we can play much better than that. We completely demoralised Parramatta, and we're hoping to do it again today.
Bit of a bogey in 88 though, this Newcastle side. They've met you twice and they've come up trumps on both occasions.
They certainly have, but that was only touch football, and this is fair dinkum stuff, and they'll know they've been in a game, that's for sure.
Got some practice at touch football last week.
That's right.
Good luck today.
Thank you.
All right, there he is, the skipper, Paul Vorton. Let's take a look at this side unchanged, or just the one change, I should say, to the forwards from last week, the side which embarrassed Parramatta. The 3 quarters remain the same. Shearer, Ronson, Burke, O'Connor, Davis, Lyons, Hasler. The forwards, Vorton, Cleal, Cunningham into the second row, Gately up into the front row for McKinnon, Haggett, Daly, and the coach, Bobby Fulton.
Well, that's the Manly team. Now, when you look at the fledgling Newcastle club, they needed a strong on-field leadership, and they certainly got it with Kiwi international Sam Stewart. Now, Sam, along with his wife and youngster, have settled in well in the Hunter region, and with another child due any time now, are very much part of the Knights family. Let's check their team for today.
And it's Sam Stewart who the Knights will be looking to show the way in this very tough encounter out here. How do you boys feel?
Oh, fairly keen, very confident and very enthusiastic.
I bet you'd rather be at home, though.
What, back in New Zealand or?
Newcastle, that's home, isn't it?
Oh, playing in front of the home crowd is definitely an advantage, but we've got about 8 busloads down here. So, we've got a bit of support there, and I'm sure the guys are really keen to get out there. We're at home all down here.
All right, well, all the very best. There's been a late change to the Knights lineup, and it's at the fullback position where Steve Fulmer comes in to replace Tony Kemp, and the rest of the team reads Whittaker, Miller, Hanrahan, Quinton, Frendo, Tew, Boyd, Sammy Stewart, McKinnon, Thorne, Townsend and Butterfield, and of course Alan McMahon is the coach.
The man in control today, Mick Stone, on a very sunny afternoon here at Brookvale Oval. There they are in the sun on the hill. Manly will be kicking off, and Newcastle in receipt of a quite strong breeze at their backs.
And Newcastle have brought quite a few fans with them as well. Several busloads of supporters arrived at the ground, so they'll be in good voice as the afternoon gets underway, and Michael O'Connor starts proceedings. And this is a huge test and an awful mistake from the replacement fullback Steve Fulmer. Could not have wanted a worse start than that.
Absolutely dreadful. He looked like a J-grade junior the way he went there. We'll say it's nerves, but I would suggest that he's going to get a little bit of bombing after that.
So just what they didn't want, Newcastle, with a scrum about 5 metres out, and it's a Manly feed and the Manly winners. Hasler breaks from the scrum. Out to him, he's going to score. No, he's so close. Well, almost disaster for Newcastle as Manly pile on the pressure. Gately swamped by the Newcastle forwards. As Manly set themselves, bad pass for Lyons. Crossfield out of 2. And finally caught just short of the corner line. Cleal down the blind side. Made about 8 metres in that run. Newcastle desperately defending now as Manly putting some pretty ordinary passes together. Now here's Hasler and Lyons. The little kick ahead. Oh, it's a trouble here for Newcastle. Oh, just luckily for Newcastle, they were able to save the day with Brian Quinton.
And Lyons is apparently bleeding from the head. He's had a knock after, but the grubber kick went through there. I think he had a little bit of blood on his forehead there. It was fairly late that he ran into the player. Watch it again. Well, the player ran into him. Brian Quinton. But there's the near thing. Very close. There was Manly player in attendance.
Well, now the Knights have to get it all together. That's a poor restart too. Straight to Gately. There's two terrible mistakes from Newcastle in the early stages as Manly once again pile on the pressure. Away goes Cunningham. He's only 3 metres out. Now here's Hasler. Long ball for Lyons. To O'Connor. And now to Shearer. Well wrapped up by Gavin Hanrahan. Down the blind side is O'Connor. But this time Butterfield is there to hold him. So is Chew. Now Daly. With Boyd and Butterfield and the hooker Townsend all in there. Last tackle now for Manly. Penalty has been given to the Seasiders. Newcastle all up inside the 5 metres.
Now we've got a touch judge in here at the moment. He'll be reporting the play there of Butterfield, who was swinging a bit like a rusty gate. Mick Stone's having something to say about it. Here's the incident again. Watch him, a little bit of a punch that missed, or an attempted punch that missed, and have another one too.
So Michael O'Connor, first opportunity today this season. He's already scored 3 tries and 17 goals from 27 attempts, making a total of 46 points for this season. And from right in front, O'Connor puts Manly in front. There is the score. It's Manly 2, Newcastle yet to score.
So Frendo gets Newcastle underway again. It was a near thing, a try in the opening minutes for Manly. Satisfied though with the 2 points. Bit of a fumbling start by the Knights. Burke out of that dummy half position, just outside his own quarter line. Gately goes without it as a decoy. Solid defence on Daly. Plenty of enthusiasm in the Knights. Well, he's lost the ball.
Yeah, Phil Daly won't be very happy with himself about that. It weathered the worst of it, and then as the players got up, number 12 there, Tony Townsend, the ball dribbled out of his hands.
Well, I thought Michael Stone might have ruled Des Hasler offside from that scrum. To me, he certainly didn't retire. Manly coming up with it. Shearer, this is the position where they'll probably try and take the Knights on out wide. Cunningham, straight up the middle. Bill, do you think that's the danger for the Knights out wide?
Well, it is. Their forward defence is fairly good. I watched them against Balmain last week on video, but it's out wide. They've got problems. They don't come up as a line. They come up in 1s and 2s, and that leaves holes like this.
Well, that's exactly what's happening as Burke goes back inside. He had O'Connor in support, couldn't get it to him. Solid defence by Boyd just on his own side of halfway. The penalty will go against him. He made a meal of that, getting off Matt Burke. Made an absolute meal of it.
I would have penalised the other way there, to be quite honest. I thought that Burke made an absolute meal of the lying down on the tackle. He's, to me, that's lashing around with the feet and carrying on like a goose is not rugby league.
Well, you have got to step away from the mark once you tackle. Great kick. Deep inside the Knights' quarter now. All the early play going Manly's way. Dummies from Lyons, back on inside for Gately now. 10 metres out from the Knights line. They've been quick to go wide. Shearer. Lyons picked up beautifully. Cut out pass to O'Connor. He's wrapped up by Quinton but unloads to Stuart Davis. Mick Stone's ruled that forward. The crowd certainly didn't like it.
He's quite right in my view. It went about half a metre forward there. The 25 line is a good one to judge it on. You see he has to reach forward for it, but anyway, it was nearly a perfect pass.
Knights with the first real chance and share of possession now. Chew coming up with that. Quinton. Plenty of support from the crowd on hand here at Brookvale for the Sea Eagles, especially after that great win last week over Parramatta. They're all fired up, the crowd and the players. McKinnon for the Knights. It's solidly and driven backwards and sideways by Daly.
Well, he's not about to let him get an inch.
Frendo with the kick downfield. That's straight to Shearer. Sort of man you don't make it too easy for. Plenty of room to decide what he's going to do. Just links up with Stuart Davis. Certainly found plenty of room down this touchline. Moving back infield, staying away from the touch. Clear, that pass was forward. Michael Stone in perfect position, right on the spot.
Yes, Davis came in away from his wing, looked for support. He saw it in Cleal. The pass just got away from him slightly. It's about half a metre forward. A good decision by referee Mick Stone. And the Manly crowd go, ooh.
Real had his sights on that try line. The scrum screwed. Oh, that's again against the feed. Twice in the opening 7 minutes of play. Newcastle going without possession. They can't afford it. Shearer. Manly having been wasting their possession, only 1 or 2 attempts through the forwards, and they've been sending the ball wide. Gately on the fringe of the ruck this time. Switch of play now for Cliff Lyons. Trying to link up with O'Connor. He finds the gap himself. O'Connor's gone infield looking for the ball. Now he has it. That's been touched by Newcastle. This should be a try. It was touched in play. Quite correct there from Michael Stone and that man that was so much on the spot last weekend, Charlie Harrigan, cuts up with a 4-pointer.
Yeah, it's a beautiful bit of football here. Look at the way Lyons slices through here. This is delicious. Quick acceleration. He's just beaten his opposite number there for pace. Back on the inside went the pass to Michael O'Connor, who took it superbly with one hand. He dished the pass out there that was knocked down in flight, but Haggett continued on and grounded the ball, and that, of course, with the ball being touched in flight by an opponent, registers as a try. Again, Lyons strides beautifully, goes just to the right distance, hasn't run too far. That beautiful pull-through of the ball coming back into the body. The pass knocked down there by Townsend, but Charlie Haggett taking the odds to it and diving on it. Good one.
26-year-old policeman who always seems to be backing up on the inside for Manly. The Knights haven't had anything go their way. They're playing without possession. They've had 2 scrum wins against the feed. Sam Stewart having plenty to say. There's the angle for O'Connor, about 15 metres to the side of the post. Hits it sweetly. No mistake from O'Connor. Super start for Manly. The Sea Eagles 8 over the Knights 0.
Now this is a very dangerous time for the Knights, behind 8-0. They've squandered what little possession they've had. They can't afford to do that, nor can they afford for Manly to just steamroll straight through now, because they really have to show what they're made of and get on the board at least. And Matt Burke runs from dummy half. Made about 5 metres. Here's Gately, caught by Butterfield and Thorne. Hazlitt to Cleal. And they're able to offload nicely to Cliff Lyons. Lyons is into the clear, looks for the support. There's none there. The kick through, and he'll pick it up. Well done, Cliff Lyons. Manly still about to throw this ball wide. 6 tackles started again as it was touched by a Newcastle player. Here's Shearer, harassed by Stewart. And he's given Stewart 5 minutes in the sin bin. Let's see if we can find out why.
Well, it's obvious that the man was standing well and truly offside. He took the odds to it. It was a sort of a gamble that he took, and it didn't come off. I mean, I've got to say that in many instances I would have done the same sort of thing, but you'd gamble with the referee in those situations, particularly with a sin bin rule. And he's going to cop 5 minutes, and it's a bit of a dangerous period, as I was interested in what you said, because if they allow Manly to get a roll on now, the score could be anything.
What's he done with this one? He's missed this one. Newcastle fans breathe a sigh of relief as the score remains 8-0, Manly over Newcastle.
Captain has made his way back onto the field from the sin bin. Inside the quarter, the Knights. Glenn Miller.
Well, in the under-21s, Manly had a fight 28-26. They were 28-4 leading at one stage, and the Newcastle side came right back. Manly 34, Newcastle 18 in reserve grade. Very entertaining game, that one.
Well, Dale Shearer certainly carried his shoulder into that tackle. He was just prepared to take the tackle and not really run with the ball. Holding it badly. Haggett. 40 metres out. Cleal's gone to dummy half. Gately. You can almost feel the way that Manly is so confident when they're with the ball. They're lined very deep and wide again. Borton. Quick hands from Lyons. Great pass. O'Connor drags that one in. Great football from the Seagulls. Back inside goes Davis. Well, he's put down a simple pass. After so many good passes for the Manly backline, a simple one goes down.
And slightly forward to it. Look, just get an idea along that 25 again. He's passed it from one side and it's taken over the other side. So it was quite definitely half a metre forward. Extraordinary error there by Michael O'Connor. He's usually so precise in that area.
O'Connor's down at the moment, receiving some treatment. One man out of the back line. Frendo just takes the tackle. So they're back on their heels. This is the man that's got to inspire them and lift them, Sam Stewart. 8-0 in favour of the Seagulls. Cut out to Hanrahan. Nowhere to go. Solid defence from Paul Borton. Townsend, Butterfield. Rob Whittaker. Need their forwards to sort of take a little bit of control in the middle and head this ball up the Knights. That's a better kick from Robbie Tuesday and a kick away from Dale Shearer. Going to allow his forwards and backs plenty of opportunities now to get down there to tackling. Still carrying that arm. Too much pace though for Former. Steps inside Stewart. And David Thorne's the man that's come across to tidy it up. Well, he's gone down on that shoulder. He's been carrying it too much this time.
Well, that's 2 down to Manly at the moment. They got Michael O'Connor limping along the sideline, back into position. And here's Shearer, who was put down heavily on that right shoulder, the left shoulder rather, which was injured and in some difficulty.
Now here's Manly trying to get this ball out of the quarter line and doing it quite easily too. 32 metres out as Cunningham plays it. Here comes Borton, back the other way for Cleal. And Cleal still able to offload back for Hasler. Shearer limping, or not limping, but certainly carrying that arm very badly as he comes from the field. Now Borton sends this downfield. Former is chasing it. Right on his own goal line by the time he picks it up. And takes it just over the quarter line as Ian Barclay runs on. Had a fine game in reserve grade. But still we have Michael O'Connor limping quite badly in the back play. So, Manly not without their share of problems. And Newcastle now trying to do something. Very little though as Miller plays it.
Well, Hasler, I notice, has gone to fullback in general play. O'Connor's still staying on the wing. He's awaiting a replacement. I'm just a little bit concerned now at the length of time it's taking to get a replacement on.
And Frendo's kick is down now to be picked up by Stuart Davis. And Davis takes the tackle just over the quarter line. Well, some problems down there for Manly. Bill.
There are some problems. Connor, of course, is limping and he's out on the wing. I don't really think he wants to go on with it. He's probably concerned that he can only aggravate the injury and cause further damage. But Bob Fulton hasn't made a move as yet. No one warming up on the Manly bench. But personally, I wouldn't be too slow to replace O'Connor. He's too valuable a commodity. I'd get him off and save him for next week.
Well, there's a replacement getting ready now as Barclay is taken by Butterfield and Stewart. Now here's Vorton. Penalty's gone to Manly. Again, Newcastle up inside the 5 metres. There's a replacement running on now, Bill.
Yes, Greg Gibson, number 20. He was the ex-Penrith player and he's taken O'Connor's place.
Here's Gately. Again, Stewart around his ankles. Cleal to the corner line. Takes Butterfield with him. Now it's back for Lyons. Coming back the other way. Townsend gets to him. Well, Manly fans getting a little anxious to their side, not making much progress as Vorton sends it downfield. This is Brian Quinton. Caught by Davis. Just stays in the field of play though. Now Tew.
Well, they had no formation at all in that ruck, Newcastle. That was the second ruck, the second play of the ball. And some of the players hadn't retired sufficiently to get involved in the play. I find that incredible.
And Thorne takes the tackle. And here's Stewart. Look for support, found it too as McKinnon run onto a good ball. Here's Butterfield, switch of play to Miller, and Glenn Miller's in the mood. Miller scores next to the post for the Newcastle Knights, and the fans rejoice.
We'll see it on the replay with our music lover Ian Maurice giving us the chime there. We've got this beautiful pass going in there from number 10, Cunningham, up to Michael McKinnon, and then back on the inside. And this is number 3, Glenn Miller, going in for a good try. They've switched direction. The Manly side have been a little bit complacent. They haven't taken the odds to getting a player back on the field quickly. They've just been a little bit complacent, and everything's taken too long to do. And the upshot is this very, very fine try, scored by Glenn Miller, coming back on the inside and catching the defence going the wrong way.
Now, the amazing statistics for Tew is that he's missed only one shot at goal so far this season, 9 goals from 10 attempts. And that's the angle he has to work with. And makes no mistake. So the Knights are still in there. It's Manly 8, Newcastle 6.
Gibson to restart for Manly, and that try coming just when they didn't want it. They've already lost 2 of their big guns through injury, Shearer and O'Connor. So while they've gone to sleep again on the kickoff, twice now they've messed that up badly. Nick Stone very quick to halt play.
And looks like there might be an injury coming here to the Manly player who was laid in there.
Charlie Haggett, I think, is the man that's gone down.
Charlie's was apparently worried about his shoulder, which would be absolutely horrendous for a hooker to have an injured shoulder. There's no way that they can pack correctly.
Well, Mick Stone has moved the scrum away from the injured player, although you can see him still there on the blind side. Chew comes up with it. Frendo. Bill, psychologically, that's a tremendous lift for the Knights, and maybe second thoughts now for the Sea Eagles.
Well, that was just the boost that the Knights needed. You wouldn't have given them a ghost of a chance, really, going into this match, but effectively, where Manly were going to win it always was out wide, where the Knights' defence isn't so strong. Now that attacking weapon out wide has been very much nullified with the loss of O'Connor and Shearer. I think that if Newcastle can hold the ball and just keep working away, play simple football like they are now, they're going to remain competitive in this match.
Well, they certainly are. Tony Townsend kept it simple, found plenty of room straight up the middle. David Boyd, 5 metres inside the Manly half, on the last tackle for the Knights. Frendo, off the side of the boot, that kick, straight to Stuart Davis. Davis outside his quarter. Good run from the winger. Chew halts his progress 10 metres short of his own halfway line. Hasler, Borton. Very much aware of the problem now with Shearer and O'Connor off. Charlie Haggett too now, a concern. Gately. Well, the penalty against the marker here from not standing directly in front in the play of the ball. Too quick to get out of that area. So after a super start for Manly, there's the scrums. 4-3 to the Sea Eagles. The penalties 5-1. More importantly, those 2 wins against the feed. Now, more or less losing distance, this kick from Manly. Daly on the charge, right on halfway. Let's also remember that O'Connor is the man with the goal-kicking duties for the Sea Eagles. So just a 2-point lead and their own fair share of problems. Cleal on that blind side that he loves so well. Always a problem, the big man. He's taken play just into the quarter line. The crowd love it. Struggling to his feet too. Borton looking for the short ball. Now the short ball's on for Gately. He's got a ton of support. Dummies, just gets there. Well, he tried to dummy the fullback. He still had enough momentum to get there. He had Lyons in support. A smile though. It's a 4-pointer and right under the black dot for the Sea Eagles.
It's just as well Gately scored that, otherwise he'd have kicked right up the backside, because he tried to beat the fullback with a man in support. You can see him charging here. He's got it on mind. He's got it in mind. He gives the pass. Now there's the dummy, and he's held and just makes the line. Now that could have been construed as a double movement. Watch it again. He's not over, and he's over there. that could have been construed as a double movement, all because a player is just not in the right mood or the right mode to give the ball to a better placed support. Now, Lyons would have scored without a hand being laid upon him. Gately scored and there was an element of doubt about it. So you take your own opinion on that try. I reckon he needs a kick right up the backside.
Greg Gibson with the kicking duties with O'Connor off. Just managed 1 goal in 87. This one from right in front. Adds the extra 2 points. So just when they needed it, Manly stretching their lead. 14, Newcastle 6.
Let's see what Newcastle's made of. Can they come back from that? Here's Cliff Lyons juggling it.
I'll tell you what, this Manly side give their supporters heart attacks at times. They really do.
Right on the quarter line now. As Burke takes the tackle. Stewart the tackler. Here comes Cleal. Had a massive impact on this game and still making inroads. Another great run from Blossom. The crowd love it. Here's Hasler and now Lyons. A little misunderstanding maybe. Cunningham finally takes it and takes the tackle. Blindside is Barclay. Last tackle now for Manly. Back for Vaughton. Charged down by Townsend, picked up by Greg Gibson. Away goes Daly. Keenan was around his ankles and Stewart was there as well. Lyons. Away goes Burke. Plenty of room for Burke to move. Still going. Lost the ball behind him, picked up by Quinton for Newcastle, but the referee playing the knock on. Well, McKinnon's in trouble. Gee, we've had some injuries in this match. Holding his shoulder as the penalty goes to Manly from that scrum.
I think McKinnon might have got that in an attempt to stop Cleal on that rampaging run.
There's a replacement on for Newcastle, Bill.
Scott Seamer's coming on. He was a fresh reserve for them.
There it is, 14-6 in favour of the Sea Eagles. Just short of halfway, Newcastle. David Boyd shows the ball. Goes alone. Searching for a try. Valuable try just before this half-time break. And Mick Stone tries Manly offside now. Interesting to see if Newcastle will go for goal here. Gately being called out by Mick Stone. Well, the Knights aren't going to go for the 2 points. They're still in search of this try. Good kick from Glenn Frendo. Excellent kick. So plenty of pressure for Manly to soak up. 5 metres out from the line. Butterfield. The Knights managed 2 tries last week against Balmain from kicks. Let's see if that pressure can be mounted in the same way. Just short of this half-time. Well, Daly's driving back Robbie Chew. That play started just short of the Manly line. Now it's 10 metres out. Frendo. The little kick through. Hasler's just going to go back and recover that.
Yes, the kick and chase was on here. Hasler was probably the player that they'd least want to chase it because he's exceptionally quick over 15 to 20 yards. He was not in any trouble at all to get to that.
Looking for the switcher player to pick up his skipper, Sam Stewart. Now Stewart's with the ball. He turns for Frendo. Frendo unloads. Miller, 5 metres out now. Last tackle. Here comes the kick from Chew along the ground into the in goal. Haggett dives for it. Well, he's ruled that arm from Charlie Haggett, I think, got to the ball, although Greg Gibson comes up for it.
Yes, the State Bank replay. The little grubber kick, well placed, extremely well placed. It was grounded there by number 20 for my liking to start with. He got a hand to it. Downward pressure was exerted on it. We'll probably see that again. He's the closest. There it was. At that point, the ball was dead.
So they continue to try and switch play all the time, looking for an inside runner. Knock back, says Mick Stone. Now the last tackle for Newcastle. Seamer, Frendo. His kick is charged down. Lyons is the man in possession. He's got support in Matt Burke. Well, all the pressure was the Newcastle. The crowd just egging Matt Burke on now. Look at that. Just the one Newcastle player in sight. Under the black dot. One end of the field to the other. They're on the attack, the Knights. And just that kick went astray and charged down. The fullback was up in the line. And Matt Burke coming up with the dregs for Manly.
State Bank replay. Newcastle hot on attack, looked like doing something dramatic. The ball rebounded off Lyons. He was able to get to it. He realised he probably didn't have the pace to go on with it. He looked for support. He found Matt Burke, who's pretty quick and getting quicker. You can see him chasing away there, going absolutely unencumbered the length of the field to score the try. He went about 78 yards there. And the beauty of that try, of course, is that it shows up the depredations of fullbacks coming up into the attacking line and not being there to do their usual job.
Well, Greg Gibson to add the extras from right in front again. His second attempt today. Gibson from right in front. Two more points for Manly. Strong first 40 minutes. Manly 20, Newcastle 6.
Comfortably ahead of Newcastle 20-6 at the half-time break. We have no changes to either side for the second half, but a report from Bill Anderson on Michael O'Connor and Dale Shearer.
Yes, Dale Shearer suffered a jarred shoulder. That shouldn't be a long-term problem. Michael O'Connor, torn hamstring, and they'll see how he is during the week.
Now Cliff Lyons taking it from the kickoff. An imperative now that Newcastle get on the board early in this second half. They've been under pressure for most of this match. They've shown that they can come back a little bit. Let's see what they can do now. Here's Cunningham. Caught by Teddy Townsend and Butterfield. And here's Cleal. Made a big impression in the first half, Cleal. Almost every time he had the ball, he's been able to make good ground. Back for Vorton's kick. Fulmer. There are the tacklers in the first half, with Hasler and Gately showing the way for Manly, and Townsend and Butterfield for Newcastle. Tew getting it away to Thorne. This is Seamer. Newcastle have missed plenty of tackles, of course, 15 compared to Manly's 5 in that first half. But of course, the amount of possession that Manly has had has meant that they've made more mistakes with the ball than Newcastle, 13-4 in fact, but they have had possession for an awful lot of that first half. So this scrum down, 32 metres out from the Newcastle line. By Hasler, and from the scrum base he almost gets to the corner line. Lyons, easy ground. Here's Vorton. Short ball has been knocked down by Cunningham. Referee Stone will recall it for the knock on.
Here's a straight out snatch at the ball by Cunningham there, didn't wait for the ball to come to him, and down she went.
Now the scrum is about 12 metres out. Newcastle almost pushed off the ball, and Manly come up with the penalty. Now Tew has knocked Hasler down.
Yeah, a little bit of an altercation there. Tew dived into the scrum, which is illegal, to get the ball out. Hasler took exception to him because the penalty had already been awarded to Manly, and Tew came up with a push in the chest which unseated Hasler. Nothing serious.
Well, here's Manly again on the charge. Daly was keen to go, and that's where they've got to go. What can they do? Here's Lyons getting it away. Oh, how easy. Gately under the posts. Newcastle stood there dumbfounded. Ian Gately Gately, the try scorer for Manly.
I think he's embarrassed to have scored that one, because this from the head-on shot you can see just how Lyons surged his way through the gap. When the defence came to him, he just pulled the pass to Gately, and Gately went in and scored the softest try you've ever seen. He was given the ball about a metre out from the line. Daly was running as a foil, you'll notice. He copped a little bit of flack there. There's Lyons' head under the ducking type. The defence came for him. He just offloaded so easy. I'm sure Gately was slightly embarrassed to score that try. Pleased, but slightly embarrassed.
Well, it's exactly what they didn't want, Newcastle. Aye, crikeys. Try like that so early in the second half, as if they didn't have enough troubles.
They certainly do, but mind you, this is also a danger time for Manly. They could go to sleep now and allow Newcastle in for, 10 or 12 points, and that would be a very great embarrassment.
Well, Greg Gibson filling in for O'Connor, makes no mistake, puts it between the posts. So we have a scoreline that reads Manly 26, Newcastle 6. The Knights, as Friendo puts it into the open spaces, but Stuart Davis is able to retrieve. And he's wrestled to the ground and lost the ball, but Manly get the penalty. Well, the referee had obviously called him held.
Yes, he got a bit of a workout in that. They seem to be grasping and groping around the head region all the time. But I think he's losing a little bit of hair. Perhaps they thought his head was the ball. There used to be a saying in rugby early days, if it's round and smooth, you pass it. If it's got hair on it, you kick it.
Oh, you could be cruel. Now, Manly at the halfway mark, and in fact inside the Knights' territory. Have this match well in control as Gately takes it forward. They lead 26-6, and here comes Blossom again. Crusher Cleal. Almost at the quarter line now, Manly. Hasler to Lyons, and here's Matt Burke. Caught by Friendo, though. No marker. That's easy ground. Last tackle now for Manly. Lyons. The little kick ahead. There's a chase for it. Cleal's after it. It's been... Cleal will get it. Cleal score. No try. Well, referee ruled he knocked it on, and Crusher said it came off my leg, sir.
Oh dear, oh dear. Well, I know Crusher, and I know he wouldn't tell a lie. Well, it seemed to get knocked up into his arm and come off the arm accidentally. Crusher, I'll have to go with referee there. Mick Stone said that that was a knock on, and that's the way it is.
So the scrum is down very close to the line. Here's Vaughton trying to crash over through the forwards. Now what can they do? Lyons. Because they don't argue with Friendo. Finally held by Hanrahan. Now they're only about 8 metres out. Hasler and Lyons again. The long cutout ball for Stuart Davis, and he's in the corner. How easy that was. Just a long pass. Davis ran onto it well.
Davis, who's got a cut under his left eye there from, evidently, according to Ian or to Graham Hughes, got playing with his children this morning. Hadn't taken too much notice of the cut eye because he got that pass beautifully and was able to go in and score a very, very handy try. You can see the large half-moon cut under the left eye. Well, I think that came from his son. Well, here's the ball going out to Lyons. Lyons shows a clean pair of heels, gets a long, lofty pass away, cut out 2 men. They're the sort, they're the ones. Davis in for the try. Beautiful stuff.
Davis having more trouble with his son than he is with the Newcastle side by the look of his face. So Greg Gibson from the touchline. Gibson has kicked 3 from 3 since he came on to replace Michael O'Connor. They've all been in front, of course. This is a very difficult angle for him. There it is. You'll need to have radar at this. So Gibson from the touchline. Kicks it particularly well and right between the posts. Great kick from Greg Gibson. Manly further in front, 32-6.
Disappointing. Alan McMahon must really be shot. 2 wins on the trot for the Knights. He knows how good a team this Manly side are. Scooting away with this game. Let's remember also that O'Connor and Shearer were forced off early in the match. Gibson, the man with that great conversion a moment ago from the sideline. Very high-scoring Winfield Cup competition. Gordon brings the play outside the quarter line. Hasler, Lyons, Burke, Cleal out in the backs. Taking him back to his centre 3/4 days with Eastern Suburbs. Charlie Haggett. Lyons, the linchpin of this Manly back line. Looking for touch. He'll just fail to find it. Fulmer will pick that up. Nothing left for Newcastle to do. Similarly to Parramatta last week, except send this ball wide now. Whittaker coming infield. And a few times he's really had to touch the ball. Butterfield. Strong hit from Daly. Thorne. That'll be a knock-on against Newcastle. Few words of exchange between the front rowers. I guess they're back into the real world now, Newcastle. As I mentioned, 2 wins on the trot and the premiers, bringing them back to earth.
It must have been a feisty old week up there in Newcastle last week to come up with the second win. There's a little bit of fisticuffs there going on at the moment.
Well, we'll stick with the ball. Mick Stone has now called a halt to play. I mentioned before the scrum there was a couple of words exchanged between David Thorne and Gately. They came out of that scrum swinging punches. They really did let them go at each other. The sin bin could be coming in for some use here, trying to settle a few of these tempers. Here it is.
Well, here's the scrum breaking up. We're getting a little bit of ruction going on here. They're quite intent on it. Thorne for the Newcastle side and Gately for Manly going at it. Now the rest of them have gone in there and trying to separate these two, but Gately's going with a right hand underneath. Thorne's blocking most of them with his jaw and well, that's the way it went there. I think they've, looks like 10 minutes for somebody, 10 minutes for...
10 minutes for David Thorne to have a little bit of a think about it.
I think Gately's going to have to go. Yes, he is.
He's going to join them. It's not a bad idea that they go off short of each other too. Keep them separated. There they are, both of them. Divorced. The penalty's going to go Manly's way. As just about everything else has today. If Lyons looking for touch. One of their better defenders, David Thorne, so see if that has an impact on this Newcastle defence. Davis just takes the tackle, trying to set play up for a Manly move. Cleal down the blind side it was. Couldn't control it, and the knock on.
To work the scrum for the Knights. Gone with the feed. Former. Just caught by Lyons. Hanrahan. Again caught by Lyons. Now Townsend. Well, Manly fans will be anxious to know how Michael O'Connor's hamstring injury is. He's down there with Billy Anderson.
Michael, an early mark today with that torn hamstring. How bad is it?
It's hard to say at this stage, Bill. Hopefully it'll respond to treatment and I'll be back on the field within a week or a couple of weeks.
Well, the last 3 games, it's something like 140 points to Manly's. What's making them so hungry?
Oh, I think it's just our sort of commitment to open, sort of running the ball. And there's no real formula, I don't think, other than the fact that we are playing very positive sort of open rugby.
Well, I'll let you get back and put some ice on that leg.
Thank you.
Now, I notice Cliff Lyons is calling for some attention as Manly continue to push forward. It's Gibson, in fact, who's down. As Cliff Lyons calling it for attention for Gibson. Now Tews picked it up for Newcastle. Stewart. Hasler around his shoulders. Rides into the ground. Now Boyd. And again Hasler's there, but here's Townsend backing up well. Right on the Manly quarter line now. Newcastle as Frendo works towards his winger and got the pass out there for Quinton, who's lost it. Burke picked it up and put a foot into touch.
Yes, a little bit of bad luck for Burke here. The ball was dispossessed of Quinlan, the winger for the Newcastle side, and in picking it up, Burke's put a foot into touch. Now I noticed that Shaw's come on. He's replacing Gibson. Gibson's coming from the field, getting a good round of applause too. Listen to the crowd. They're just letting a new boy know that they appreciate everything he's done.
Now here's Newcastle as Fulmer chimes into the back line, but a beautiful tackle right around the ankles. Who was that? Barclay it was. Miller. And Newcastle, can they do something? They've brought a whole lot of fans down with them. I'm sure they'd like to see something from them now. Here's Sammy Stewart. 10 metres out, may have lost the ball, has he? Got a big stone down there having a good look. Yes, Stewart lost it. Cliff Lyons has it. Here's Crusher. Shaw. Every time this fellow's come on in first grade, he's played very, very well.
Yes, well, he played very well in reserve grade, scored a beautiful try from backing up. It was first class.
This tackle's 27-6, and here's Hasler making yet another break. He's got Shaw with him too. There's the pass, and away goes the little fella. Here comes Frendo across in cover. Got a pass. Oh, they bombed it. Had the try line there, and the 4 points were there for the asking.
Well, you know, what does one say about this on the State Bank replay? Little Shaw gives a pass to Ronson. It wasn't a perfect pass, we know that, but all he had to do was catch it. It was there to be caught by a first-grade footballer. And I've been singing the praises of this bloke. Actually, it hit him on the bloody head. Now, I've been singing the praises of this fella, saying how professional he is. He wants to take a sharp look at himself after that.
Should have taken the ball, no doubt. He's in first grade. And it wasn't all that bad a pass, really. Fulmer. Switch of play for Butterfield and Glenn Miller. Sam Stewart. That's better support play from the forwards. Seamer realising that Stewart's the man that can stand and unload. I'd like to see David Boyd involved a lot more for Newcastle, a lot forward. Man who spent some time with Canterbury, has some ball skills. Butterfield switching play for Chew. Back to Butterfield. They're going nowhere. Somebody's got to decide to get this Newcastle side moving forward. Last tackle. Back to Frendo. Well, that kick is a good one. Perfectly weighted, just inside the touchline.
Yes, a beautiful kick, and Frendo was the man that operated on it. Puts Newcastle in a very strong position. Manly showing signs of becoming quite tired. They've got a few players showing signs of bellows to men, and I think it's indicative of the pace they played the game. When they've had possession, they've really run the ball ragged.
So the scrum is just 10 metres out now from the Manly line. Shaw. Ronson. Newcastle have a replacement ready on the sideline, Bill.
Troy Clark in number 15. He'll be taking Brian Quinton's place.
David Boyd with the ball now after Noel Clear had lost it. Shadows creeping across Brookvale Oval from the grandstand side here. Let's see what Newcastle can do. They really haven't shown a lot in general play. Midfield and just short of the quarter line now. Townsend out of dummy half. Back for Sam Stewart. Sights an opening. He's found it. He's right through. Comes to Des Hasler. Back inside. This will be try number 2 for Glenn Miller. While he's been searching for the ball, he's been going infield. It hasn't been coming his way up the back line. And he just picked that up from a pass back from Sam Stewart.
Yes, a good try here. But really, the Newcastle side are not backing each other up enough. That's the problem. They should have somebody on the inside and the outside every time somebody with some skill runs. Now, this big fella there, the captain of the side, is a very, very strong player. He's able to stand in a tackle and unload. Stewart's the man. Just watch him. Here's Townsend going. He turns and gives the ball back to Stewart, who's coming around on a wrap, as we call it. Now, he gets the ball in the one hand, on the right hand, and swings his arm so that he gets the lob pass back inside, and Glenn Miller goes in and scores the try. That's always on with somebody of Stewart's pace and size. He's so enormous.
Well, there's the man coming up with his second try today, Glenn Miller. Just the one kick for Robert Chew, which was successful. About 10 metres to the side of the post. His 100% record. So a little bit of respectability for the Knights. Manly 32, Newcastle 12.
Gately is back on the field for Manly after the stint in the sin bin. However, the Newcastle side have elected to send a replacement on for their player, and Brett Shaw is on. Stewart from the kickoff. Here comes Brett Shaw. Big lump of a fellow, isn't he?
Yes, he's a large lad.
Tew. Miller. 2 tries for Miller today. Now Stewart to the halfway mark. I've been a bit disappointed in the halfback, Robbie Tew. He had a reputation of being a very skillful player, but he hasn't done as much as I hoped he might. Here's Davis, linking up with Hasler. Which way are we going to go here? Davis. Up to the quarter line. Shaw. And Barclay. Still going over the halfway mark. He's got the little fella Shaw with him. Shaw's got it. They won't catch him. And Shaw's in to score a great Manly try. And that brings up 100 points for this week and last week for Manly.
Yes, a first-class try. The pass went out to Shaw. He pulled it in very well from behind his head. Got it on to Barclay. Barclay stretched away and went very, very strongly. Got away from Butterfield's tackle. You can see Shaw coming back on the inside. He takes the pass, puts his head back and just goes. And he's only got 20, 20, 15, 10 and so forth to get there. And that was a good try and makes up in some way for that one that Bronson bombed just a few moments ago. Here's Barclay running towards us. The pass timed perfectly back on the inside to Shaw. Shaw really goes strongly. He's chased hard by Fulmer, but it's just no way. There he is again. Beautiful football. Scoring their 6th try. Good stuff from Manly.
32-year-old labourer and a very impressive player. Vorton taking the kick and makes no mistake. Oh, look at the score now. It's a little skip from Fatty. And doing a little shuffle. 38-12, Manly over Newcastle. Yes, they certainly have something to dance about, the little girls. And so did Fatty. How sweet it is. I don't see Fatty smile all that often.
He's making too much money.
Now, Another change in the Newcastle side, Billy.
James Golding wearing number 26. He's a junior Kiwi, taking the place of Tony Butterfield in the front row.
And all we know about him is he's got a mean left hand because he just threw it.
Now here's Barkley again. And the Newcastle outside backs were all up inside the 5 metres in. Referee missed it. They're 10 metres short of the halfway mark now. There's Lyons, dummies to Crusher, and gave it to Cunningham instead. Vaughton. Back for Fulmer. And Fulmer is 32 metres out. Newcastle very slow to get back, aren't they?
Yes, they are. They're quite slow and they're very, very ponderous in playing the ball too. It takes a hell of a long while for one of their players to get to his feet.
Now this big lump of a lad, Brett Shaw, takes it to the halfway mark. Still moving it around with Hanrahan. Got it along the ground, picked up by Lyons. But referee Stone said he saw a little knock on in there.
Lyons was giving him his best "who me sir" look because he didn't believe that he'd knocked on and picking it up, and I think that proves that he didn't. The scrum went down. It's won by the Newcastle side.
Frendo to play the ball right on halfway. Robbie Chew. Bill, this Newcastle side really doesn't have a dominant player around the rucks, do they?
Well, I think Chew can take some of the responsibility there. He's been prepared so far in the match simply to catch and pass. A good halfback's got to mix his game up. He's got to catch and pass on occasions. Other times he's got to take the ball up to the defensive line, and sometimes he's even got to take them on his own and go through the defensive line. He hasn't really done that.
He just goes wide this time through Frendo. Jinks back in field. The ball for Miller. Back inside it goes to Shaw. The big fella was standing looking for some support on the last tackle for Newcastle. Chew. Looked outside for Seamer. Stewart just kicks ahead, but straight for Des Hasler, who sights an opening. Looking back in field now for Ronson. That ball's gone astray. Shaw will pick it up. David Boyd's there. He dummied to Hasler. Now Ronson again, keeping his ball alive. Manly just into the Newcastle territory. Cleo calling for it, as is Lyons out wide. Vaughton on the charge. Out it goes to Big Gately, to Barkley. The forward's getting involved. Well, he just stumbled as he was looking to get that ball back inside for Vaughton. They still want more tries, Manly. Lyons, well, he's fumbled it. They had Newcastle on the rack. Lyons just too quickly trying to think of what he was going to do with that ball. A simple knock on. When they open up, they certainly are a great side in rugby league, Manly. And they were coming out with all the guns blazing again today. Penalty going to Newcastle against Charlie Haggett for striking at that ball before it came in. So time just to be virtually played out here. Only a few minutes away from full time. There it is. Manly 38, Newcastle 12. Frendo, Hanrahan. David Boyd in the lock into the dummy half role. I should say that is a man that I was expecting a lot more out of today in attack. Chew. Frendo. Back for Shaw. Townsend. Well, he's lost that ball. No mistake, no penalty against Manly. Just got to his feet and lost it. The scrum will pack down just outside the Manly quarter line. McStone not happy with that. Not much different that result either, but it's still Manly's ball. Ronson. Crossfield. Now straightens up. Barclay. Can Manly explode once more? Matt Burke down the blind side. Plenty of room to move for Burke. Takes play to just short of his own halfway. Lyons. No Cleal. Big step from Cleal. Still going. He's got Hasler outside him. This will be another try. There's Hasler. Great break from Noel Cleal. The crowd were hoping for it. We've gone into the 40s. Celebrations for Manly right under the black dot where most of the tries have been scored today.
Yes, a great run by the big crusher, Blossom as he's eloquently known. Just serves his way through defenders there, pushed them out of the way, had Hasler on his right-hand side. I was amazed that it wasn't our friendly hooker, Charlie Haggard, who seemed to live in his pocket last week against Parramatta. But anyway, it was just crusher this time, just showing the sheer poetry and excellence of his running and strength. And that's all he's got, and that's all he needs. It's just beautiful body strength, great pace, and it does it all. They just don't want to tackle him. They don't seem to want to go near him, and Hasler was there on the end of that to really come up with another fine try. Vaughton's got another goal. Will he do another skip? That's the question.
There it is. Manly 44, Newcastle 12. Sam Stewart still trying to drive his side on. Ronson. Back to the quarter line. There it is. That's the end. Another great display by Manly. Superb performance. Piling on the points for the second week in a row now. And the flags fly high. Well, there they are. I don't know about them gods as yet. They're the premiers, and they're piling on the points, as I said. Well, there they are, the try scorers for Manly. Haggart. Gately picked up 2. Burke, Davis, Shaw and Hasler. O'Connor 2 goals before he went off. Gibson 4 goals. Fatty Horton 2 goals. He loved those. Newcastle the 12 points. 2 tries to Miller. And Robbie Chew was successful with both attempts. 44-12. Well, it's been a hot one here at Brookvale Oval this afternoon. Our State Bank man of the match, Noel Cleal, enjoying a bit of a rest sitting down. Plenty of heat out there, but piling on the points yet again, the Seagulls.
Yeah, mate, I'd say it's the hottest conditions we've played in this year. That's including trial, so it's pretty warm.
Forget about the opening one against the Brisbane Broncos. A ton of confidence for Manly?
Oh, yeah, they caught us on the hop and we went up there with our heads up our tails, so we've come back to earth now. And, you know, we'll go down scratching to defend the premiership.
All right. Look, Gareth, I know you reckon Dad had a big game today. This is from the State Bank. Man of the match, $1,000 in a State Saver, high daily interest deposit. He played pretty well. What are you going to do with the money? Spend it?
Yeah.
All right.
They're a good side, yeah, for sure. You know, we didn't play well today and paid the price.
What did you learn out of today's game?
Well, for a start, you know, we've got to start well, I know that, and we didn't start too well, and therefore we didn't get much continuity of football. The other parts of the game, I think we've got to try and stop Manly offloads. I think the offloads caused us plenty of problems as well.
Right from the start, you were in trouble when your fullback spilt the kick-off.
Well, we didn't start well, yeah, that's what I said. Yeah.
Can you kick on from here?
Well, we hope so, yeah. You know, we got beaten and that's going to happen again in the future. What we've got to try and do is win more games than we lose.
Paul, this is becoming a very high-scoring Winfield Cup.
Yeah, it certainly is. You know, there's so many players of the calibre they're able to score tries from anywhere, and Manly's fortunate that we've got about 10 of them. So naturally, we hope to score as many points in every game.
And when Michael O'Connor's not there, as he was today, injured and not being able to kick at goals, Paul Vaughton just jumps in.
Well, that's the advantage of being captain, and you can do whatever you want, especially when you're leading by about 30 points.
The hop, skip and a jump, or is it the Mohammed Vaughton shuffle?
Well, it's a funny thing, I was watching Yankee Doodle Dandy last night. I thought I'd carry it on today, and I was a bit worried about the wind, actually. But when you're about 10 yards out in front, you don't miss too many.
Well, very few sides can enter the Winfield Cup competition in rugby league here in Sydney and expect to do well the first year. Newcastle gave it their best shot. They were clearly outplayed by a very good Manly side who scored over 100 points in their last 2 games, it should be remembered. OK, the results of this weekend's matches, and I think you'll find them very interesting. Canterbury 22, Canberra 17. Canberra should be shot for letting him out of jail. South 31, Illawarra 18. St George 14, Gold Coast Tweed 6. Penrith 8, Parramatta 6. That must have been a tight do up there at Penrith Park. Brisbane 24, North Sydney 12. So Brisbane is in fine form. Balmain 15, Western Suburbs 12. Cronulla and Easter played an 18-all draw. That's astonishing. And Manly 44, Newcastle 12. Now the premiership table looks this way. Brisbane, Canterbury 8 points. Manly, Canberra, Penrith and South Sydney all on 6 points. Balmain, Parramatta, St George, Newcastle on 4 points. Cronulla, Illawarra on 3. Gold Coast, Tweed and Eastern Suburbs on 1. And Western North yet to record a point. Now, next week's ends matches. Well, this is interesting. Balmain and Manly, that'll be a Saturday game. It should be a good one out at Leichhardt. Eastern Gold Coast Tweed, Penrith and Newcastle. Wests against Norths. Illawarra against Canterbury. Canberra versus Cronulla. The first side is the home team. St George and South Sydney. And our match, Brisbane versus Parramatta. That's at Lang Park, incidentally, so that's a pre-arranged thing, something that we're very pleased to be doing. Wednesday night. OK, the combined Brisbane versus Newcastle, the Panasonic Cup. That starts at 8:30 p.m. and that's at the International Sports Centre up at Newcastle. English Rugby League on the same night, Wednesday at 11:30 p.m. That's after the Don Lane show, which is a pretty good show too. The second semi-final, Hull versus Halifax. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the telecast. The game was a little bit uneven, but nonetheless, I think it was a good exhibition of football by Manly. On behalf of all the Channel 10 crew, I'd like to wish you a very good evening.
Stay with us next on 10 for the funniest special of the year. It's the Comedy Company Collection. Don't miss it.